A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. I'm Ritwika Gupta. Tonight we delve deep into the health tech and renewable energy sectors. In the first segment, I'll be shortly joined by Gaurav Gupta, founder and CEO of Gabit, to discuss opportunities in the wellness market. And in the second segment, a conversation lined up with Dr. Ajay Mathur, Director General, International Solar Alliance, on solar energy adoption among businesses. Gaurav, welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow. It's a pleasure having you today.
Thank you for having me here.
So first things first, I'm really curious to know, how did you transition from food tech at Zomato to now health tech with Gabit? What was the moment, that you realized that this is what you want to do, this is your calling?
So it all happened in COVID. Prior to COVID, I used to travel a lot.
Yeah.
But during COVID, everything came to a pause. So I actually started working out more regularly, was playing tennis regularly because I liked it, was eating good food mostly, was sleeping much better, and my health dramatically improved. I was not like this pre-COVID. I was 49 metabolically when I was 39. Now I'm 35 when I'm 43. Yeah, and I lost 15 kgs, and I realized that fitness, sleep, stress, and nutrition are the pillars of health. Now we all keep talking about longevity and the cool therapies that we can do, but I think this is the essence of longevity. Like 98% of longevity is these four pillars. Right. And I got super excited about this, and I said, whenever I want to start up again, I want to build this mission to enable people to just live healthier and longer and do this for millions of people if I can. So that's how it started.
Right, and the health tech space in India, it's buzzing right now, and Gabit, from what I understand, it's also into smart wearables, you have wellness programs, beauty products, and a host of other things as well, right? So how do you plan to really shake things up? How do you plan to really create a real impact in this sector?
So Gabit is a very unique platform globally. It's built on the thesis of interconnectedness of health. Sure. So if you look at fitness, nutrition, sleep, and stress, they're the four pillars that we spoke about, but they're all interconnected. If you do fitness well, you sleep better. You sleep better, you do fitness well. If you have stress, nothing goes fine. And if you eat better, you can do all of these things. And you pick up any health goal that you can think of. The other thing that we figured was that you only improve what you can measure. So we're very big on tracking health markers. So in a sense, if you look at it, we have got a smart ring that we have launched for tracking your cardiovascular data and more data around that. We got a smart scale for body composition. You've got glucose monitoring as well. And we also have just launched blood work for you to understand your blood markers. So the idea is to help people understand what they can do better and that they can improve their health. And if you look at both of these things together, it can be very powerful for a user. Imagine yourself as a user, where you can understand all this data for yourself and you can do something about it. We've launched our wearable, and again, unlike most other wearables, we've bolted on all these four pillars of health onto the wearable. So there's a smart ring, and we bolted on all those four pillars. So you can actually do your workouts. There's fitness, there is sleep. You can look at your sleep stages. There's stress. We've also bolted on nutrition on top of it.
Sure.
So you can actually log your food by just speaking to the phone. It's an AI-based food log that we've launched. So I log my food by saying 3 scrambled eggs in the morning for breakfast, 1 chicken salad for dinner. It logs my food. And since you're wearing it all the time, it actually tracks your calories out during the day. We're the only wearable in the world which actually gives you a calorie balance at the end of the day. Like, are you deficit or surplus on this? So that's around tracking, but then we've also gone ahead and done very good products for customers. For example, healthy skin is a goal that we're very bullish on. And we said, let's build out really good quality products for people in terms of their skin concern, skin type. So we've done that. We took 2 years to build those formulations and getting amazing customer feedback on that. So I think good quality execution, in addition to tracking, will actually change the game of improving health for people.
Fantastic. Now, zooming out a little bit and talking about the wellness space here in India, I think there's a lot more awareness. People are a lot more conscious about their health, nutrition, wellness in totality. Talk to us a little bit about the kind of opportunities that you see for businesses in this industry.
I think one of the key trends that is picking on, and India still needs to catch up, is preventive health. Okay. I think we all need to take care of our health, and health should be accessible to all. And that's our mission as well. We try to make health as aspirational, like get good quality products, but make them affordable as well. So that is very important for us.
Right. As we're looking into 2025 as well, right? What role do you see technology? And I know that, at Gabit, you have integrated a lot of AI-based, I think you have a skin bot, you have a fit bot, right? So how do you see AI and technology, really reshaping wellness and fitness?
I think the combination of knowledge in form of science and the power of AI, the intelligence, is very, very powerful. And I think there is tremendous application in health for that. For example, we've launched PEP a month back. It's our AI health coach for our Ring customers. So now, for example, I can talk to PEP and try to understand what is the correlation between my sleep and fitness. How am I doing in terms of the day? How am I recovering well or not? And it talks to me. And it's just the beginning. We're going to extend this to all the other tracking that we do. So as a customer, you can understand from all the data that you have for yourself whether you're doing well or not. And I think that's very interesting. We've done the same thing with a tool called Footbot. We understand that a lot of people cannot have access to coaches. They want to work out on their own. So when they come on the Gabit app, the Fitbot measures your reps, gives you a posture score. Like burpees is a very difficult movement to do. It actually tracks your burpees completely. We got a skin bit which essentially you take an image and it'll actually give you a skin score. It'll tell you whether like acne or hydration, what levels are those on. And I think the list goes on. Like the food log that I spoke about. Like, we understood from customers that logging food is a pain, right? And that's why most people don't do it. So now AI has enabled us to do it based on voice, right? You can just speak to it and actually it logs food. And I think this is just the beginning for us. For example, we're now working with professors and MDs from Harvard, Oxford, and Ames to actually build the next level of insight that we can do for predictive health. Could we tell you tomorrow that you're going to fall sick? And can you do something about it today? Right? Or you could actually be coming against a major disease in the future and you can do something about it today. So I think the power of using that, again, that science along with the intelligence is massive, and that's what we're working on right now.
So Gaurav, I also read that you have raised $9.5 million in seed funding. So for all the entrepreneurs watching our show today, I have two questions for you in two parts actually. The first would be, your advice for entrepreneurs, who want to raise funding, who want to pitch to investors. What would your advice be? And the second part of the question would be, how do you plan to then scale Gabit using the funds that you have received?
So I think when you raise funds or when you get like any team member on board, I think it's the same concept in my view. And that's how I always looked at it. Always try to get people on board on your journey who believe in what you're doing, like you believe in what you're doing. Because I think that is what helps you in the longer term. So I think that's one advice I would have. In terms of scaling Gabit, I think for us fundamentally, we've just been in the market with customers for 10 months. And in 10 months, we've become very synonymous to just health and wellness in India, wearables tracking in India. And I think it's been just a result of good quality products being made available to customers. And I think that's what we're here for. So if more and more happy customers are out there, it'll actually help us scale much, much better because people are looking for something that can help them improve their health.
Fantastic. Gaurav, you are a co-founder at Zomato. Tell me, what were some of the key lessons that you learned along the way? And are you doing something differently at Gabit? Is your approach different?
So again, building Zomato was like tremendous learnings for me. It's like learnings for a lifetime.
Right.
And when you build so much, so intensely and passionately, it becomes your subconscious nature. It's like driving a car. You don't have to think about what you do. But I think one of the things that I really learned, and I keep it to my heart, is that you have to understand and listen to customers. There's a lot that they share with you. If you just as a founder keep your eyes and ears open, there's a lot that you can build, which can be very, very useful for customers. And again, you should also be very, very careful about what is not working. And be very dispassionate about saying, okay, it's not working, just let me move on from here. I'll give you a small example. When we launched our Smart Ring, a lot of customers asked for, let's say, gifting. They said, can we gift it to someone? We said, absolutely. But then we went ahead and asked them, who do you want to gift it to? And a lot of kids said, we want to gift it to our parents because we want to just get a sense of how their health is. And then we said, okay, why don't we just take this ahead? So we actually just not launched gifting, but we launched a feature where on the click of a button, it's completely user consent based. You can share as parents your data with your kids. And the app currently transforms to completely their data. We are probably the only wearable in the world to do that. And now doctors are loving it. They're actually, it's like telling their patients to put on the ring so that they can track their vitals, and they can also get access to that. Even fitness coaches can actually benefit with their customers there. So I think it's just about this. Now, we got so much love for this feature that tells you that, okay, you have to the good quality products just come from all of this and nothing else.
Right. And finally, as we are wrapping up this interview, tell me, what is your long-term vision for Gabit? How do you see it, especially in 2025? What is your vision?
So Gabit's vision has always been to enable everyone to live healthier and longer. We want to be there for any key health goal that a customer wants to address, which I've already talked about. And the idea is to be able to give them tracking, products and services, for example, plans led by coaches. So we have actually plans for customers where they can actually take live fitness classes with them every week.
Sure.
They also get a nutrition coach who works with them to actually help improve the nutrition. We also assign them a clinical psychologist as a habit coach. So essentially, that habit coach helps them understand why do they do what they do at a deeper level, so they can change their behavior. Right. I think Gabit is all about, it's a take on good habits. It's one word for good habits that we've coined.
Yeah.
And we encourage everybody to actually start saying Gabits instead of good habits now. And the question I have is like, the philosophy is that pick up something that you can follow for life, because that can lead to an impact, and don't go after faddish behavior. So the question to like everyone is like, what's your Gabit today? What Gabits are you picking up? That's what we are all about. Yeah.
Fantastic. It was lovely chatting with you, Gaurav. All the best, and we hope to have a chat with you soon again, maybe in a couple of months.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me here. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. In this segment, we talk about the solar energy market and what steps MSMEs can take to improve their energy efficiency. In conversation with Dr. Ajay Mathur, Director General, International Solar Alliance, ISA. Thank you, Dr. Mathur, for joining us today on Leaders of Tomorrow.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Glad to be here.
So to begin with, tell us, what role do you see MSMEs playing in the renewable energy sector in India? How can they contribute to both the supply and demand sides of the solar energy market?
Let me first focus on the supply side. We have very recently just conducted a search of startups in the solar sector in India. Actually, we did it last year in Africa. This year we did it for Asia Pacific, but also for India. And we identified 10 startups who are providing various things like, for example, robotic cleaning of panels. Now, you obviously have a certain amount of panels in order to clean them. We had, in a completely different sector, a platform for aggregating demand and supplying solar goods and products to people. So an electronic platform. Now, come to the demand side. On the demand side, by far and large, the greatest use of solar is to provide electricity to MSMEs. The point that I want to make is that solar allows you to lower your costs, enhance the supply of electricity, and increase the total production that your income increase.
Right. So one of the major barriers MSMEs face in adopting solar energy is access to affordable financing. What strategies would you suggest to enable easier financing for MSMEs to invest in solar energy?
Affordable financing is a little bit of a difficult concept to get your hands around. The affordable financing is what you can, for example, get from borrowers, for example, banks. And the rate at which they provide, yes, if you do not have collateral, it's a higher interest rate. If you have collateral, it's a lower interest rate. In this particular case, you have the solar energy system, so you have a collector. The second issue is that the problem that occurs with solar's equipment is that it costs much more than, for example, a diesel genset would. It costs even more than an equivalent sized coal power station would. It is this additional cost which is a problem. Now, if the banks are willing to pay this, to make this additional costs, and under the current regulations for rooftop solar, banks are providing this funding, then what you have is an ability to convert that into annual payments. And annual payments are very much less than the annual payments you make for an equal amount of electricity. This makes it very attractive. Now, I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is MSMEs and their relationships with the financial institutional systems. That is something that will have to be done at an individual level and not at a global level.
Absolutely. So many businesses, especially smaller businesses, also struggle with high energy costs. Tell us, Dr. Mathur, how can ISA help MSMEs reduce energy costs through solar adoption?
Let me first say that the ISA is the International Solar Alliance, and therefore we don't actually work within our member countries, including India. This is much more the work of the agencies, the renewable energy agencies in their states. But the current Indian programs provide for, number one, enabling the loans which help set up solar systems on their roofs. So, especially if they want to use electricity during the day, it is far cheaper than what they can get from the grid. Additionally, the grids, almost every grid in the country allows what is called as net metering. In other words, they will buy solar electricity from you when you have excess electricity, and sell electricity to you, for example, during the evening hours when solar electricity is not available and you need more energy. This has enabled many MSMEs, and I'm talking of right now, there are many MSMEs who have moved to solar systems with the availability of this financing.
And just out of curiosity, as the Director General of ISA, tell me, in your experience, Dr. Mathur, what are the most significant challenges do you face when promoting solar energy adoption among businesses?
So, to me, there are two major challenges. The first is how much roof space is there? Because there is shade on the roofs. There are roofs which are used for purposes other than solar. And very, very often, there's also a problem that the roofs may be made in a manner that are not very conducive. For example, the south-facing wall where the solar panels are installed may have glass on it, which they don't want to cover because it covers the lighting that comes in. So availability of roof is important, and availability of finance is important.
Now, ISA has set an ambitious goal to unlock $1 trillion in solar investments by 2030. Tell us what key strategies are in place to make this goal achievable.
First of all, the world has already spent more than $1 trillion. So we have unlocked more than $1 trillion in solar financing growth. But as far as we are concerned, the problem is that the vast amount of this has been unlocked in the OECD countries, in China, and in countries like India and Brazil. The rest of the developing world, in particular Africa, has received very little funding. Something of the order of 10% of the total amount of money that has been invested has gone into these other geographies, OECD countries, India. So this means that we somehow have to get money to move into these. How do we do that? So what we have done is we have just created the Global Solar Facility, which provides a guarantee mechanism to give confidence to investors to invest in a small-scale solar in Africa. What it does is it's a payment parity mechanism. If you don't get paid, this guarantee, which is a sum of money which our various member governments have put into this facility as a grant, that becomes the way to go.
And in your experience, how has the global perspective on solar energy evolved over the past decade or so?
First of all, there was this feeling that solar would be one of the energies on the side. You would need, for example, base load power from somewhere else, and people were talking of nuclear or hydro or something like that. We have now come to the point where solar is seen as a mainstream producer of electricity. It is seen as being able to operate on its own without other sources coming in. If other sources come in, so much the better. But this year in India, for example, we had 4 auctions in which solar plus wind plus storage had prices of electricity which were less than the prices of electricity of new coal power stations. To me, this is the economic straw that breaks the camel's back.
So overall, what specific steps do you think MSMEs can take to improve their energy efficiency?
Energy efficiency is the first step, because given the fact that the amount of capital that you need to put in setting up a solar energy system is high, you want to reduce the amount of electricity that you use. So energy efficiency comes first. Now, energy efficiency could be anything like the LED bulbs. In this country, we changed all the incandescent bulbs to LED bulbs 4, 5, 6 years ago. Second, one of the very important issues is look at the main process. So, for example, in the looms that we worked on in Banaras, it was very important that the machines that were used were energy efficient machines. It was important that the turning instruments that were used in the looms, which used to turn the fabric, were the most efficient that were available. Efficiency pays for itself.
Right. And finally, what is your long-term vision for the organization? How do you see ISA contributing to the global transition to renewable energy?
We have found that, number one, in most countries, people, at least political leadership, at least understands that solar electricity can provide cheaper electricity, but it's low on their priorities. The first issue is enhancing this as a priority in various countries. How do you do this? You do this by enabling solar to provide services to you and me in our daily life. For example, you solarize a school, or you solarize pumps, or you solarize the system which where agricultural products can be kept cold storage, for example. These then create the public demand for these products, and a public demand helps change political priority.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to us, Dr. Mathur. It was a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you very much.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 12. We hope you enjoyed the conversations. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.